Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. This is good stuff. This is good stuff. Welcome to Streaming Idiots. If you have ever been called an idiot, thought you were an idiot, felt like an idiot, or looked in the mirror one day and said, "Who is that idiot?" This show is for you. If you've ever started a live stream and forgot to put in the destination, or you've started a live stream and forgot to press the record button, oh my gosh. Or if you've ever gotten into the middle of a show and realized you've been on the wrong camera for 10 minutes, this show is for you. It's an idiot show. And Ken's here. So no relationship between that little comment and Ken showing up. If you see any kind of similarity there, it's purely coincidental. Coincidental. Glad to have you with us today. So really happy. Coming up in July, we will celebrate our what is it? Our 12th year. No, 11th year. 11th year. So we're in our 11th year, but we'll celebrate 11 years of video. I would say video excellence because that's what the YouTube, that's what the vMix guys say on the vMix Fun Time Live show. But it hasn't been 11 years of video excellence. It might be 4 or 5, and depending on what you call excellent. But yeah. So anyway, glad Ken's here. Glad Ken's here. We're getting a little flickering on the stream here. It flickers between red and yellow, which generally tells me I don't have the bandwidth to upload. We've got a pretty solid 20 meg upload, and we are using way more of it than we should. We're using 70% of it, not 50%. So maybe that's the problem. But let me know if you see any buffering or any delay or any video that slows down and speeds up, any of those kind of symptoms. I'm just interested to see. This happens about every other week. Now we're definitely pushing the envelope because this is a 4K 60 production. And we're running on about 25 milliseconds render time, 100% GPU memory, and 15 CPU vMix, total CPU about 30. So we got plenty of CPU. We need to upgrade the graphics card. That's probably what it is. We'll see. We'll see. But let me see if unplugging this one camera I'm not using helps. Probably not. So the subject for today is outputs in vMix. That is video outputs. We're just going to limit it to video only, video outputs. How many different ways can vMix output video? Well, the obvious ones are live stream. Like today, I'm outputting this video right here to you via YouTube, via streaming. vMix has the capacity to stream to 3 different destinations simultaneously, and they can be anything you choose that will accept your feed. But you're pretty well limited to whatever vMix has as the program output, top right-hand corner. At least if you're using it the way it comes from vMix, it's the one with the green topped window. If you've adjusted it to be a more traditional switcher, it's the red topped window. So you've got 3 destinations that you can live stream to. So that gives you 3 outputs right there. That's the easy one. I mean, that's the one that you would expect from vMix. But vMix also has the capacity to output video through your graphics card. And I don't just mean the vMix desktop interface. You can, if you have the vMix 4K or Pro, you can actually use 2 of your monitor outputs for video. Actually, right now here in my studio, I've got 3 monitors, but I'm using one of them in front of me behind my camera, as a confidence monitor, and it's a full screen output. If you go into the top of vMix, well, heck, let's just show. Get to that screen, and if you look right here in the top, right there at the very top, I don't need that little Facebook pop up there. You can see the full screen button is on. I can turn it off, which means my monitor in front of me goes blank. Let's put me there so I feel more comfortable. There we go. So yeah, so I've got two full screens. I'm only using one of them right now. And I'm taking input one, which is my camera, and putting it up there as a full screen. We'll go to settings here for just a second, because we're going to do a lot of our work in settings today. And we'll just put it up there so it doesn't make the screen so cluttered. But if we look down right here, where we're right here on the display tab, I have the vMix Pro Edition. And so I have the option of two full screens. If you've got the vMix HD Edition, you've just got one full screen. But I can take full screen number one and deliver it to display number three. And I can take full screen number two and deliver it to one of the other displays. And in this case, I've just picked none because I'm not using it. I don't have an extra monitor connected. So I've got the ability to have two outputs through the graphics cards. And so depending on what my graphics cards are, you know, that's going to be VGA, DVI, DisplayPort, you know, HDMI, you name it. If you can connect to it, it will send out video and audio for that matter over your graphics card. If you don't have a graphics card, it will do the same thing for the embedded graphics on your motherboard. So let's see, that's two. Let's go down here in the settings to what's called external output. And if you've got vMix HD, you have one external output. If you've got 4K or Pro, you have two external outputs. And what external output is another name for getting video out through something that's part of your PC. In this case, it would probably be for a Blackmagic DeckLink card of some kind, like the mini monitor, which will do one output, either HDMI or SDI, or the DeckLink the DeckLink Duo 2, which will do two SDI outputs. I mean, the card will do more than that, but with vMix, you're limited to two, this external and the external two right here. The other option in the Blackmagic line is the Blackmagic DeckLink Quad, which is an 8-port SDI card. And the 8 ports can be configured as inputs or outputs. And vMix can use two of those as outputs. So that gives you the option for up to two HDMI or SDI outputs. And those are turned on by the little button down here at the bottom, the one next to the flashing stream button. The external turns on those external. And I don't have anything externally connected today, but if I did, I would say external one, I'm going to turn on the external renderer, and that would be my card. And we look on here. Okay, well, it's got a DeckLink video renderer, but there's really nothing on the other end of it. It's just a driver that's there. And on external two, we would do the same thing. We would turn on the renderer. We would select the device. We would select the port. And then we'd click OK. Probably vMix would restart. And then we would click the external button down here at the bottom to send that output out. Let's turn these back on so we don't mess anything up. And then we have the option on those of determining what the content is on the external output. And if we go to outputs right here, the second one on the list, we can see that output 1 and output 2 go to external 1 and external 2. Generally, output 1 is always the output. That's what vMix recommends, because that's what gets streamed and recorded. But output 2 can be any one of your inputs, or it can be preview or multi-view or replay. And so you can send that out over external 2, which would be, again, if we're looking at external outputs, that's going to be this second one right here. So that gives us 2 more outputs. That's 3 streams, 2 full screens, and now 2 external. So that's 7 so far. Now you notice, oh, I should have turned that off. Got ahead of myself here. Let's turn those off so that we don't tip our hand too much. So here in output, again, output 1, 2, or 3, or 4, we have a little settings icon. And if we click that, we can configure SRT. And SRT in these cases would be an output, because we're talking about an output. Now, if we were talking about inputs, we would use the add input button here in the bottom left-hand corner. But these are outputs, so I can enable SRT. I can make it a rendezvous, a caller, or a listener. It doesn't matter. It's still an output. And I can configure any one of these, any one or all of these as outputs. And it's recommended if it's replay not to use the hardware encoder. Anyway, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4 SDI outputs. So that brings us up to, let's see, 5, 7. That brings us up to 11 outputs. Now the SDI outputs are over internet. So they are not something that's physically attached to your PC. I guess the stream is over internet too. And this assumes, of course, that you've got a really screaming uplink, more screamier than what I have today. The last option on outputs, at least from vMix, are the NDIs. So I've got 4 outputs and I can determine what they are, either by saying they're the output or any input or combination of preview, multiview, or replay. And you can also take an input and make your own custom multi-view out of it. You can put, just like my my pre-show screen, you can put a clock in one place and a chat in someplace else, and a photograph, a video in someplace else, and all of that together becomes one input that gets output over NDI, and so it can go anywhere on your local area network. In fact, now with NDI, it's not even limited to your network. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. That brings us up to 15. Is that right? Did I do that right? Let's see, 3, 5, 7, 11, 15. That's right. But wait, there's more for an extra 35 cents. No, just teasing. You can have additional NDI outputs, cameras, calls, audio inputs. You're looking at Tom, but he's not moving. Well, that's no good. Check, check, check. He's moving here. Sorry about that. Cameras, calls, audio inputs. We just care about the cameras and the calls, but if we turn on NDI right here for the cameras and the calls, that gives us 8 callers, right? 8 callers. So that's in addition to the 15 we already had. So that gives us 23. And then cameras is cameras. I just threw in 4 cameras because that's what a lot of capture cards have, is 4 cameras. So that's 27 outputs. But you can do, there are capture cards like the Blackmagic Quad 2 that have 8 inputs. So 8 inputs would then be 31. So we've got the capacity. Let's just cut back over to this shot. Whoops, let's cancel that. Cut back over to this shot. So we've got the capacity now for not 1, not 2, but actually 31 outputs. Sorry. Yeah, 31 outputs. 31 outputs. vMix does a ton of inputs. Okay, so people are complaining that the button He usually uses, well, let's check and see. Are we doing anything? Well, looks like it's working to me. We'll have to check the recording later. So hard outputs, vMix has got 4 hard outputs, 2 from the monitor and 2 from additional PCIe cards like the Blackmagic cards. It's got 3 destinations on the live stream. It's got 4 destinations on SRT, and then 4 destinations built in where you can modify and change it to be whatever you want on NDI. And then in addition to that, you've got all of your cameras and all your vMix calls. So with that combination, you should be able to this is interesting because I'm not getting, hang on a second here. Can you guys see me? Hear me? Is there a problem? Let's just check here. Hold on. Not see or hear. Well, that's no good. Let's just see. Videos, live. Well, let's just check. OE49. OE49. Yeah. Well, let's just stop this real quick and restart it. We'll be right back. Stopping and restarting. All right, let's see. Is this better or worse? All right, better now. Do we see it? Do we see it? Nope. Huh. Let's try. No, no, no. Huh. Okay. What about now? What about now? Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Is this thing working? Checking again. Did you guys miss all the good stuff? Did you miss all the good stuff? I don't believe it. Where have you been all this time? Here I've been doing this great show and you guys haven't been paying attention. At last. Well, there you go. Gee whiz. Sometimes it's the simple things that catch us up. So where are we? We are 2/3 of the way through the show. I want to welcome you back to the show. And so that means you missed the pre-show and you missed the show, which is now concluded virtually. And we were going to go to pre-show, but let's do this. Yeah, the pre-show is gone. There was no recording of the pre-show. So that's gone. We did record the show when it started. So we will upload that later as the show, because that has all the good stuff in it. And in fact, that's going to include this part right now. But suffice to say, in conclusion, in conclusion, I have identified 31 different ways to get video out of vMix. And you'll have to watch the show in order to see them. Well, quick recap. Okay, quick recap. For those of you that weren't paying attention, and you know who you are. 3 streams, one of which should be your output. The other, well, all 3 of them have to be your output. So 3 streams, 2 full screens coming off your graphics card, which can be anything you decide. In my case, right now, I'm using one of my full screen, outputs to do a confidence monitor behind my camera. You've got external outputs. You've got 2 of those, and those can be configured as whatever you want. But the external number 1 typically is always the main output from vMix. And external number 2 can be just about anything else. You have a choice of 4 SRT outputs and 4 NDI outputs that are your outputs that are already pre-configured, plus all 8 of your vMix calls can become NDI outputs, and every one of your camera inputs can be an NDI output. So if you figure 8 camera inputs, 8 and 8 is 16, and 4 and 4 is 24, and 2 more is 26, and 2 more is 28, and 3 more is 31. So that's 31 outputs in vMix from vMix, either over your network, over the internet, or a hard connection. So there you go. Dave says, welcome to the Tom Sinclair self-gratification program. Yeah, it's funny. Well, it's not funny, but it's funny to me. No, it's not even funny to me that I've been talking to this camera for the last 45 minutes and nobody saw it except me. And here I was having a great time chatting with you guys and talking about how, you know, the Streaming Idiot show in July will be 11 years old. We're in our 11th year. The vMix Funtime show always says that, you know, there's eight years of excellence. Well, in our case, we've been there 10 and a half years, 11 in the summertime. And it's maybe 4 years of excellence, but obviously not today. How much bandwidth would you need all that? Well, it depends on your resolution and frame rate. If you're doing 4K, a lot, and you have to have a big beefy PC to do all that, because remember, vMix will use the graphics card to process the video for your cameras and to the live screen and the recording. But it's up to the CPU to bring the muscles to bear for NDI and SRT, for that matter. So you're going to have some big horsepower to put all that together. And you know, as for bandwidth, it's just a matter of counting pixels. You know, we're live streaming 4K 60 today. We're using 14 megs to do it. And that's one output. So if you figure you did 31 4K outputs, well, not all of those would be streamed on the internet. It would just be the SRT and the stream. So just 7 of those, but 7 of those at 14 each, you know, what's that? 95, 105, something like that. So you're going to need probably a gigabit to do it. And then whatever your network is what's going to be saturated with all the NDI feeds, because they're going to be going out. And, you know, if you've got 16, 20, if you've got 20 NDI feeds, each one is, you know, 120 each. That's 2.5 gigs. So you need a 10 gig network. It's a math problem. It's a math problem. Biz Shorty says, a show on video out where the video doesn't come out. Yeah, that's right. And today's April 1st. That's right. Okay. Bill says, if you've been watching the chat, then you would have known that there was a problem. Well, don't watch the chat during the show. That's the way it goes. Sorry about that. So you have missed everything. Missed everything. Well, let's move into the pre-show prematurely, and I'll come back and try to catch you guys up on the good stuff that you missed that just was there before, and you just you missed it. So you actually missed my X keys explanation. It was great. It was great. I'm gonna press the purple button here marked outro. Watch, pay attention to the copyright.